Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are tackling something that affects literally every single one of us. Yep, our habits. We're going to completely unpack James Clear's game-changing framework for mastering your behavior from his book, Atomic Habits. Look, if you've ever felt stuck in a rut, or maybe you're just frustrated that your best intentions don't turn into lasting changes, well, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to take all this deep psychology and turn it into a highly practical toolkit you can literally use today.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll lay down the foundation, systems, identity, and habits. And then we'll walk right through the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Let's get right into it.
So I want to kick things off by asking a question we've all totally agonized over at some point. Why, despite our absolute best intentions, do we constantly fall back into old, frustrating routines? Why is it so incredibly hard to just stop doom scrolling or to finally start going to the gym consistently? A lot of us think it's just a lack of motivation or maybe some deep character flaw. But the reality, it's actually way more mechanical than that.
And that brings us to this really foundational truth from James Clear. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Think about it. Everyone has goals, right? The Olympic athlete wants the gold medal. The startup founder wants a billion-dollar business. But the goals themselves don't actually determine success. The systems do. Success isn't about setting these massive pie-in-the-sky goals. It's all about the daily, almost invisible routines we build.
Which brings us to our very first section. Systems, identity, and habits. There's this brilliant metaphor that perfectly illustrates what Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. Okay, imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a freezing cold room. It's 25 degrees. You slowly heat the room up. 26, 27, 28, absolutely nothing happens. 29, 30, 31, still just a solid block of ice. It feels like you're putting in the work but seeing zero results. But then it hits 32 degrees and boom, it starts melting. From the outside, it looks like an overnight success, but really, it was the result of all those tiny temperature shifts that came before it. Your early effort isn't being wasted, it's just being stored up until you hit that breakthrough. Honestly, before any fancy life hacks or daily planners are actually going to work for you, we have to realize one big thing. Behavior change is ultimately identity change. Every single small habit you do, whether it's reading just one page of a book, or doing a single push-up. It's like casting a silent vote for the person you want to become. And the best part is, you don't have to be perfect. You really don't. You just need a majority of votes to prove to yourself, hey, I am a reader, or I am an athlete. So let's look under the hood at the actual neurological habit loop. This is the exact scaffolding that the 4 laws are built upon. First, there's a cue. That triggers a craving, which leads to a physical response, and that finally delivers a reward. Our brains are literally running these loops on autopilot all day long just to save energy. So if we want to master our habits, we have to step in and hack each individual part of this loop.
Let's start with Law 1. Make it obvious. A lot of times, we beat ourselves up thinking we lack motivation, right? But what we actually lack is clarity. Vague goals, like, oh, I'll exercise more this week, they usually fail because they just don't have a clear cue. Instead, what you really need is an implementation intention. By stating exactly when and where you're going to perform a habit, something like, I will do 10 push-ups at 7:30 a.m. right next to my bed, you drag that invisible cue out of the shadows and right into the light so your brain can actually act on it.
And you can take this a step further with a super actionable formula called habit stacking. The formula is beautifully simple. After your current habit, you will do your new habit. You're basically anchoring a new behavior to an already established daily rhythm. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Your brain already deeply trusts the coffee cue, so just sliding that new habit in right behind it makes it nearly automatic.
So here is a absolutely crucial takeaway. Relying purely on self-control, it's kind of an illusion. What it's really about is environment design. If you want to build a good habit, like running in the morning, make it painfully obvious. Put your running shoes right by the front door where you can't miss them. But if you want to break a bad habit, you just invert the law. Make it invisible. Want to eat healthier? Don't leave junk food sitting out on the kitchen counter. Actually, better yet, just don't buy it in the first place. Out of sight, literally out of mind.
All right, so let's transition now into the emotional phase of habit formation, the craving. Spotting a cue is one thing, but for a habit to stick, your brain actually has to really want to take the action.
Which brings us to Law 2, make it attractive.
You can actually manufacture this magnetic pull using a clever technique called temptation bundling. It's where you pair an action you really want to do with an action you need to do. For example, tell yourself you can only listen to your absolute favorite true crime podcast while you're at the gym. By linking that instant emotional reward of the podcast to the really hard habit of working out, suddenly hitting the gym becomes emotionally irresistible. It's like hacking your own dopamine. But you know, cravings aren't just biological, they are incredibly social. We naturally imitate the culture around us. Specifically, we imitate the close, so our friends and family. We imitate the many, like general societal norms. And we imitate the powerful, people with status that we admire. Because we're fundamentally wired to belong to a tribe, the absolute easiest way to build a new habit is to join a group where your desired behavior is already their normal behavior.
So if you want to make running attractive, join a local running club where that social momentum just pulls you along with them. On the flip side, if you're trying to break a bad habit, you must make it unattractive. You have to actively reframe your mindset to strip away the appeal. Don't focus on the sacrifice of quitting smoking or cutting out junk food. Instead, actively highlight the massive health and energy benefits you're gaining by avoiding those things. It changes the whole game. Okay, so with the desire firmly planted in our brains, we now cross the threshold into the physical response. We've spotted the cue, we crave the reward, and now we actually have to do the work.
Let's dive into Law 3, make it easy.
The absolute most brilliant way to tackle this is what Clear calls the 2-minute rule. Whenever you start a new habit, downscale it until it takes 2 minutes or less to complete. Seriously, don't plan some grueling 1-hour workout right out of the gate. Just plan to do a single push-up. Don't sit down to read a whole chapter. Just plan to read 1 page. See, habits are formed by repetition, not by time or intensity. Doing one tiny thing perfectly consistently is infinitely better than doing a massive thing once, burning out, and quitting.
Notice how simply reducing steps makes good choices feel almost inevitable. If you want to read more before bed, make it incredibly easy. Keep a book literally resting on your pillow so you physically have to touch it to go to sleep. And to break a bad habit, make it difficult. Increase the friction. If you find yourself watching way too much TV, try unplugging it and taking the batteries out of the remote after every single use. It sounds crazy, but adding just 20 seconds of annoying friction can completely dismantle a mindless bad habit.
Finally, we arrive at the last piece of the puzzle. Law 4, make it satisfying.
Now here's the fundamental problem we're all facing. Bad habits usually deliver immediate rewards but delayed consequences, right? Like eating a donut tastes amazing right now, but it's going to hurt your health later. Good habits are the exact opposite. Working out kind of hurts now, but it gives you great health months down the line. Because our human brains strongly prioritize the present moment, we have to use something called immediate reinforcement. We have to manually add a small, instant hit of joy to our long-term goals right after we do them, just to make them stick. Just think about the intrinsic joy of seeing a visual habit streak grow on a big wall calendar. It's like Jerry Seinfeld marking a big red X every single day he writes a new joke. It feels good. Now compare that with the strategy for breaking bad habits, making them unsatisfying. You can actually do this by signing a habit contract. Give an accountability partner $50 and tell them, hey, you keep this if I miss a workout this week. The immediate social and financial pain of failing makes skipping that workout incredibly unsatisfying in the moment.
So, we've just covered the hidden architecture behind literally everything you do. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Just remember, you don't need some massive, exhausting, life-altering overhaul. You really just need to change your environment, reduce the friction, and start small. So I want to leave you with this one question to think about. What small vote are you going to cast today for the person you want to become tomorrow? Your future identity starts right now with just one tiny atomic step. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.